Does the avoidant ever come to realize that their lack of compromise in a relationship can, in fact, cause the relationship to fall apart? And do they always forever hold on to healthy requests about others' needs as some form of obligation and some form of overstepping personal territory? Well, in today's video, we are going to cover exactly that. We're going to talk about often what happens when a dismissive avoidant comes to the realization later on that their lack of compromise might have actually had a really detrimental impact on the relationship with their ex. And I'm going to start by just sharing with you a client story that I think really demonstrates this. But then what we'll do is we'll talk about a healthy approach to this entire situation if you're currently a dismissive avoidant listening, or more than likely, somebody in a relationship dynamic with a dismissive avoidant, and maybe something that you can share with them that could really help transition things in a much healthier way. And before we even dive in, I am so curious to hear what you think happens if a dismissive avoidant reflects later and they realize, wait, I did make mistakes. I didn't compromise or invest enough. And how you think the dismissive avoidant tends to respond, let me know in the comments. And I also want to let you know very quickly that just for a limited time, just for this month, we are offering not just a 7-day free trial to all of our courses at PDS, including courses around communication and attachment style healing. But on top of that, you actually get to keep a course all about attachment styles and intimacy. It's our attachment styles and sex course. You get to keep it for life. It's over to a $200 value. And literally just by checking out the 7-day free trial, you get that forever. It talks all about attachment styles when it comes to intimacy, their patterns, their triggers, the things they like, don't like, are afraid of, and the things that will make them run in the other direction. So don't miss out. I'll put that link down below. So first and foremost, I will never forget having this client. And this client came in and it was a husband and wife. The husband was dismissive avoidant. The wife was anxiously attached. And the husband in the situation was saying, my wife wants me to change who I am, and I'm unwilling to do that. And this was about things like him being more present in the relationship, being a little more responsive to text messages, making sure that if he was going to make plans to do something, he would let her know on the weekends because they did have a young daughter together. And he was like, she's asking for too much. Now, of course, from a securely attached point of view, we know that's not the case, that those small requests, especially in a family dynamic, are important. But he was really personalizing these requests as some sort of attack and demand to change who he was at his core. So he said, I don't think I should have to change myself. I think this is silly. I think that, and he was getting frustrated. And we have to remember here, right, from a place of empathy, that dismissive avoidants grow up often in households where there is a tremendous amount of avoidance that they are exposed to. And thus, they aren't used to seeing two adults compromise healthily in relationships. A lot of dismissive avoidants either grow up in single parent homes or grow up with both parents being quite avoidant or emotionally unavailable. And so they don't see those two parents leaning on each other and having healthy interdependence the way that we would see in a securely attached household. Instead, they see the modeling that everybody's just doing their own thing and everybody's on their own terms at their own time. So of course, if that's your conditioning growing up, that's what you are going to project onto another situation. And of course, it's going to feel like a really uncomfortable request. So I used a really silly analogy, but I will share it with you here. And I said, look, if you're sitting on a large bench and a stranger comes and sits down and, you're sitting in the middle of it, wouldn't you just move over a little bit? So they're not asking you to get off the bench. They're not asking you to leave and choose a totally different bench. If there's more than enough room, why not just move over a little bit? And that was there to illustrate the difference between a compromise versus a sacrifice. Moving over a little bit when you still have room and you still have your ability to sit on the bench is you just making a healthy and respectful, kind compromise. A sacrifice, on the other hand, is you having to leave the bench for the stranger, you having to make sure you never sit on a bench again for a stranger. And although that's a silly analogy, it really illustrates the difference. A compromise is making small modifications in our own behavior in a way that allows us to also take ourselves and our needs into consideration, but be mindful and respectful to the people and the relationships we're investing in at the same time. And a sacrifice is when we actively betray ourselves. You see, the moment she was asking him to be a little more mindful and communicative over text message or around plans, she was asking for a compromise. But how he took it is a sacrifice, although it was only a small modification in his behavior to help the relationship function more effectively. A sacrifice, on the other hand, would be something like her saying, "You can't make any plans on Fridays ever. You can only do things with the family. There's no exceptions to that rule." And that goes a little bit deeper because he was quite a social person, and that's actually infringing on who he truly is at his core and completely annexing it essentially. And so there's a big difference here. And unfortunately, when somebody grows up in a dismissive avoidant household, they don't often see healthy compromises.
So I just wanted to stop by here and let you know a really exciting announcement, and is that we are doing $1,000 off of our lifetime memberships to the Personal Development School for Life. So I will tell you what's actually included in there. Number one, you get access to all of our different 60+ courses. Everything about every single attachment style, how to reprogram, how to heal. We have courses in there about the 6 stages of relationships and how to navigate each stage. We have courses in there about how to get back together or heal relationships between different attachment styles and all of the steps for reconnecting. And we have all sorts of other courses on boundaries, conflict communication, setting and achieving goals at the subconscious level, seeing how attachment styles even show up in your workplace and how to navigate some of those different dynamics and heal those aspects of your attachment style. There's so many courses in there. But number 2 feature that we have, daily social support groups. So these are small groups that are all included in the lifetime membership. And we do daily events, sometimes even twice a day, where there will be, 10 people or so led by a trained counselor, coach, or facilitator. And you can actually join in there and practice some of the different tools with other members. It's a great place to build relationships, connect with like-minded people, and to really fast track your learning and have that extra support all the time. And number 3, we have daily webinars Monday through Saturday. I do 3 of those webinars every single week. That's the time to come in, ask me your questions. You can come in on camera and we can chat. You can come in off camera and just post them in the chat, whatever you're most comfortable doing. And we have other amazing counselors, coaches, facilitators who also lead other webinars. And again, those are slightly larger groups of people, but it's a great opportunity to connect with like-minded learners who also care about the same things: emotional connection, relationships, and personal growth. So I hope you check it out. We also have all these different discussion forums in there. We have a Facebook group, so you can connect with each other there as well. And there's a tremendous amount of community support in an ongoing way at PDS. So I would love to see you on the other side. I hope you join me. And now we'll go back to the video.
And of course, compromises go both ways. These should be things that can naturally be talked about, negotiated around, and brought to the surface so that a relationship can function, because good relationships are built on healthy communication and transparency between 2 people. So what happens when a dismissive avoidant leaves a relationship and starts to reflect on their own behavior, which is something that often takes place? A lot of times, dismissive avoidants don't realize until later how much the other person gave and put the effort in, because at the time they were feeling triggered by too much engulfment or the fear of being trapped. And it's only when they break free from that they start to actively realize how much somebody else was pouring in, was putting that effort forth. And in that, a lot of dismissive avoidants will often realize, wait, I probably could have shown up slightly differently. But what does that mean? Does that mean that they will turn around and come back and make the effort to be in the relationship with you again? Unfortunately, the vast majority of the time, the answer to that is no. A lot of dismissive avoidants have the mindset and perception that what's done is done. And even if they miss somebody or still have feelings, they don't like to be vulnerable enough to put themselves out there. And so you'll often see very closed chapters. However, there are times and particular cases where a dismissive avoidant will reach out after some self-reflection. But again, I just want to highlight the fact that sometimes reaching out doesn't necessarily mean that they're ready to invest in a relationship. Sending a text message versus doing the work to be vulnerable, to communicate, and to really try things again are 2 very different ballparks. And that's something to be mindful of. But if you're in a particular case where you do see somebody reach out, make the effort, the big thing you should look for is accountability. Is this person accountable for their part in the relationship? Have they gained insight? Are they actively working to deal with the root cause of some of these patterns of behavior? And you can really use that as a measuring stick to see if there are green flags that could let you know that it may be okay to slowly vet and proceed. But if you're really not seeing all 3 of those green flags, it could be a potential challenging situation going forward. And that's super important to keep in mind. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. If you don't want to miss any more videos on fearful avoidant attachment styles and dating, dismissive avoidance and their exes, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and feel free to like this video, share it with somebody who might find it useful.